What will happen to Ezra Bridger in the second half of Star Wars Rebels Season 4? As commenter Star Commander suggests, Ezra can't be alive during the original trilogy. It would make no sense that he and Luke did not meet. So will Ezra die in the second half of Star Wars Rebels Season 4? No, I really don't think he will, just like I don't think Sabine will die either. These two characters are now very important to a new generation of young people that love Star Wars, and it seems like such a waste to kill them off. So then how will Ezra's story end? First Sub Mapper suggests he thinks Ezra will need to choose whether to save Kanan or Hera, and he chooses the latter, we know, because Hera survives to Rogue One. I think that would be so tragic and such a cool ending, and very fitting for Ezra because he has always wanted to protect his family. So if he's in a situation where he needs to choose between Kanan or Hera, it could really mess with him, and we could see him fall to the dark side, as Freddie Prinze Jr. has mentioned in his interviews. But moving on, Levi suggests that Ezra's arc will probably end with him walking away from the Force. It's known that there can't be any Jedi to train Luke, and if Kanan bites the dust, then Ezra, who is still a Padawan, not a knight, will fall to the dark side. He will be saved by a person closest to him, who is, with Kanan gone, Sabine. After he snaps out of it, the dark side, he questions whether or not he can be a Jedi, and the temptation of the dark side will always be there. This could totally happen, Levi, and I know a ton of fans would love to see Ezra and Sabine become a couple. I also like the connection to Luke in The Last Jedi and how Luke closed himself off from the Force, so it's totally something Ezra could do as well. Plus, this is exactly what Kanan did as detailed in the novel A New Dawn. But up next, we have a comment from Masher1965 who states, he will follow his own path as a light Force user, and depending on how Ahsoka returns, maybe follows her. The growth in Ezra will be following that path and letting go of the Jedi way. I am going to guess that Kanan's fate will be a catalyst to that. Yeah, that sounds great, and it's so interesting, Masher, that the Wolves and Ahsoka are just such a wild card heading into the second half of Rebels Season 4. They could have a profound impact on Ezra, and yeah, Masher, I agree, Ezra becoming a gray Jedi or a balanced Jedi, whatever you want to call it, makes a lot of sense. We also have Matthew who commented that hopefully Ezra's story doesn't end. I think he and Ahsoka can most definitely be continued in the new canon. And in fact, I'm betting on it, Matthew, that both of their stories will be continued. But Star Wars Rebels hasn't been a runaway success, so it's hard to tell if Disney will let Filoni and his crew continue their stories in the future. Moving on, we also have Medieval Man 9 who states, I think Ezra's arc will end with him deciding that the path of the Jedi is not meant for him. Something will happen that will show him that he is not heading in the right direction, that his training as a Jedi is the wrong thing for him. Obviously, I can't say for sure what this something will be, but I suspect it will have something to do with how closely he is to the dark side and how easily he's tempted to use it. This will frighten him and cause him to turn his back completely on anything to do with the Force, similar to what Luke did while on Ahch-To. However, this too will be the wrong decision. I have a feeling that the final episode of this series, possibly even the final scene, will have Ahsoka return, having fully recovered from her fight on Malachor both physically and spiritually, to tell him there's another way, one that has nothing to do with the Jedi. That would be totally kick-ass, Medieval Man 9, and it's similar to what Levi suggested earlier. I like the idea of Ahsoka coming back and showing him a new path, although I must say that in this case they would need to go off to, say, the unknown region to start a new order of Force users. So again, they are not around during the original trilogy. Lastly, Big Kenobi Al comments, "Hey Mike, I believe that Ezra will not end, but will continue on in that Vader and Thrawn book after the show ends." I believe that's called Allegiance. "At the beginning, I thought that Vader would execute Thrawn by force choking him and taking his head, but I believe now that Rook would do something that would piss off Thrawn and have them fighting. Then Rook would get the upper hand, getting ready to execute Thrawn, and suddenly Rook would have a red lightsaber cutting his head in half." Little graphic, Big Al, but awesome nonetheless. "Vader would save Thrawn, telling him that he saved Thrawn only because he needs his knowledge about the unknown regions. I feel like this season will end like this, and the book will start right off after this scene." That is absolutely fantastic. I love it, Big Kenobi Al. That would sure make for an awesome book. And although I've suggested something similar in a video before, I just don't think Lucasfilm is interested in having their stories that closely connected. Though I really hope they prove me wrong with this one. But hey, Star Wars fans, I'm Mike, and you've been watching Force Within TV. But before you go, please consider answering the question of the day. And today, the question is about Sabine Wren. How will her story end in the second half of Rebels Season 4? We just covered Ezra. What do you guys think about Sabine Wren? And as always, use the Force within you to make the Star Wars community a better place. Share your thoughts and your ideas and encourage those who do the same. May the Force be with you.